it's a big day. Very important day for one Andrew Michael Holness. Today is the day where he gets sworn in for a fourth time as Prime Minister. Did so in 2011, 2016, 2020, and now 2025. 3 own mandates, 16, 20, and 25, and 1 shared mandate. Max Wilson says George is alone in the dark room. Yeah, true. Yeah, talk, you know. It's true. It's true. Captain J says it's his birthday. So yes, today is not the date with destiny. Today is the result of a date with destiny in which, as they'd say in the street, Andrew Bingo. In Bingo election day. And this day is the fruit of his success on election day. You know, I remember very well years ago when Holness was under pressure, when Holness was under a challenge from Audley Shaw for the right to lead the JLP. And in the aftermath of it, I think a better Holness emerged. That Audley Shaw challenge, well, I want to tell you, maybe if that Audley Shaw challenge hadn't happened, perhaps the Holness we see today wouldn't exist. It would be a less precise version, a less calculating version, a less tolerant version, a not so securely forged version. Some will say a not so good version. But I genuinely believe, and not just in this moment, but before today, I've long felt that the making of Andrew Holness was that Audley Shaw challenge. He went into a deep place and he found some things that he agreed was best for him to build into the new him. And that new him has served the country well thus far. And this is where, it's not that I get in trouble, but I stir and incur the wrath of some people. How dare I say he has done well? Well, wanna come beat me. That's not to say nothing that Holness has done up to this point can ensure him against falling down in the future. And you know that nationwide will be all over Holness and this JLP administration like white on rice if they don't get individual things right and if they don't get governance right. So we are not a JLP station, absolutely not. We are a fair station. And if you get koof as government because you're doing koofing things or koofing-able things, let's make a phrase. If you're doing koofing-able things, you go and get the koofs from us. That's what our record shows. So there's that very important thing to consider. And when you talk to the labor rights, they say, boy, you know, when we are on the hustings and people say, boy, nationwide favors you. We say to them, say, boy, and I really say, you know, Because when we do things bad, nationwide beat we bad. And that's what they should expect. So we promise both PNP and Labour rights. PNP in their execution of their duties as opposition. Labour rights in their execution of duties as government. We will applaud those things that are good. But when the belt for draw, when I send for the slim piece of shoe block, little hibiscus, a little granny to this, if you go break a little switch and come, and the switch where I use. And that's our promise to you. But that will happen and that will materialize. I'm not worried about that. I think today we should pause to reflect on who it is the Governor General is set to ask to serve as Prime Minister. Does this country have a Prime Minister that sits beside any other world leader, and at the very least you believe that in any conversation, in any assessment of how well he has led this country versus how his counterpart has led their country, that our Prime Minister will be able to stand tall? What's the answer to that question I put to you? I won't answer it for you. I'm putting it to you. And it's not a rhetorical question because people have different answers, but I'm asking you to answer. Does your Prime Minister, does the man who is said to be sworn in today, does he have a capacity to disgrace you on the international or regional stage? Or does he only have the demonstrable qualities to make your country seem like what it is? A strong democracy with governance systems that are strong, with much room for improvement, but things being done to improve in critical areas? Is he leading a country that can be held up as an example in positive ways? You answer that. And so, dance a yard before you dance abroad, they say. For all that Holness has done in the public light, do you look at Holness and see someone who your children, your family members who are young, should want to emulate? It's a question for you this morning. And how you answer that question will inform how you feel about Holness's fourth time being officially given the keys for Vehicle Jamaica. I say to you that sometimes, we lionize people in retirement, in death especially. Everybody wonderful and this, and even some of our worst leaders are lionized in retirement. Some of them are lionized in death. For what you know of the man from Spanish Town, St. Catherine High School, the UWI, is he worthy of leading the country that you live in? Is our Governor General set to swear in a man of substance, a man of character, a man who is worthy of being an example? Is that who is being sworn in today? Or do you have other descriptors that you'll use? You answer that question this morning. He has earned the mandate, bucked the trend of incumbents falling like nine pins post-COVID. He has led a government that has not been perfect, that has had some significant failings. But they've put things well enough together for the majority of people to give them a mandate to go again. Bruce Golding called himself the driver then in 2007. Is this driver, is this person in charge, is he worthy of leading you? That's the question. Break time, back with more on Cliff Hughes Online after this. It's Inauguration Day. The Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Michael Holness, will be sworn in for a fourth time as Prime Minister, third time own mandate. And the first time, of course, he took over after Orit Bruce Golding resigned. I see someone in the chat saying, what is George ranting about? It's not a rant, man. It's not a rant. As a host, you're compelled to deliver a strong opening to a program such as this. And that was my strong opening. It wasn't a rant. And then, no, I'm not wishing for that. But, God hasn't blessed me. Well, it's not blessing. Well, maybe I don't know. But God hasn't made me with the ability to hate. I don't know. Is there anybody I hate? I hate, no. Nobody or anything that I hate. I dislike some things and some people, but I don't hate anybody or anything. Yeah? But I say that because some of them people that are chatting, boy, let me tell you what I mean before we start wonder. So me there now doing this program, a man in the chat asks me, George, Champions League start today, who Manchester United playing? No, you tell me. If you hate the man then, but we can't hate. That was a good one. That was a very good one. Very, very good question. Why, I tell you, Manchester United, the struggle is real. Yeah? Anyway, back on track now. So, Holness for a fourth time today. Holness for a fourth time today. And as we prepare to witness the Holness inauguration, I say to the listeners that we can't skip over something important that happened on election day. And this important something that happened on election day involved the PNP candidate in Southeast St. Elizabeth, the chairman of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation, the mayor of Spanish Town, Norman Scott. And it was during Cliff's shift on election day that he made contact with a lady who claimed on election day that she had been slapped in the face by Mayor Scott so forcefully that her glasses broke. And she spoke publicly about the incident. Now, you would have known that the police have charged Mayor Scott with assault occasioning bodily harm. And I'm bringing the issue up because it was an anomaly. And of course, the issue would have been brought up regardless of who had done it, of who did it. Whether it would have been whether it was a UIC candidate, a JPP candidate, just an independent candidate, whichever P, it would have been cause for mention because there were about 189 candidates nominated for election day, 189 thereabouts. And the only candidate involved in an incident like the one in Southeast St. Elizabeth was Norman Scott. So, by any measure, it is a newsworthy thing, especially because criminal charges have now been laid. And I have lined up the account of the lady about what happened and Norman Scott's defense of himself. And I think it's sufficient to just remind you what the lady said happened to her, and of course to play for you what Mayor Scott says happened in his defense. Because at the end of that, there's a development, there's a narrative that is emerging that I questioned yesterday and got some information on, and I think it would be useful to share the information with you. Let's hear the lady speaking about what happened to her on election day.
I was working in the PD. I heard a commotion outside. I came out and asked what was happening. They told me that Mr. Scott is overstaying his time given on the premises. I asked them to give him time to leave and not create anything. I was trying to explain to him that I'm going to ask them to leave. I raised my hand to quiet them so Mr. Scott could hear what I was saying. As soon as I raised my hand to the rest of the people that was there, he hit me in the side of my face, the right side of my face, and broke my glasses. The glasses I was wearing fell to the ground.
Hold on. Mr. Scott, is this Norman Scott? The
Mr.
PNP
Norman
candidate,
Scott, the PNP candidate.
For Southeast Central District?
Yes, sir.
He slapped you?
Slapped me across my face and broke my glasses.
This is after you raised your hand to do what?
Try and make peace. Try and make peace. To calm the laborites that were there. To try and make peace, ask them to let him leave quietly.
And after he slapped you, what happened?
After he slapped me, because I was talking to him, explaining to him, I said, Mr. Scott, I am trying to make peace and you slap me. He said, I will not be intimidated by anybody.
And what happened next? How was it resolved? How did it end?
My daughter came up to Mr. Scott and said to him, you hit my mother? And he said, I'll show you something before the end of the day.
Oh?
The police officers and soldiers then took him back to his vehicle, and I left, and I'm now at the Junction Police Station.
All right. So Julie there telling Cliff on election day that she was at the Junction Police Station giving him that interview. Nor you have Mayor Scott speaking in his defense. Let's hear from the mayor.
Minutes per police station. Leaving that to the second one, lady in a green outfit, I suspected one of the JLP operatives, ran around and said, you're an EOJ officer and the candidate is hugging you. This is one of my political liaison officers. We didn't answer her because we expected the EOJ people to correct her. So I proceeded to enter the polling station. I held a gentleman right in front of me and got me. My security detail came and tried to allow me to pass. By this time, a host of GLP persons converged. So in trying to move myself in, my hand would have caught a young lady. And that's how I did.
So, based on what you're saying, no, but how would your hand have caught her? Was it?
Because I was trying to get myself, free myself into the polling station.
Oh.
They have converged on me. A number of them are over. But my security detail was there. And so in trying to remain into the polling station from outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing that her glasses were broken.
I don't know about it. I don't know anything about any glasses.
Uh-huh.
I don't know anything about that.
All right. So did you interact with her after that?
I had no interaction with anyone except trying to enter the polling station, and the elderly gentleman blocked the door, stood at the gate, blocked the door.
Mm-hmm.
So my security detail, in protecting me to get inside, because of the numbers of them that converge, of course, you have to be physically trying to maneuver yourself.
So that's Norman Scott, the mayor of Spanish Town, the PNP candidate in Southeast St. Elizabeth in the September 3 general election, speaking in an interview there with CVM TV's Andre Jebinson, explaining his side of events. Now, this matter is before the court, so I'm limited in what I can say at this time. And even if the matter had not yet gone to court, given what it was, it would have been serious enough and could have reached there, I would have been reserved. But here's what I'll say. Mayor Scott's defense has said that, have accused the police of, well, let me not say that, say it that way. The police are being asked to explain why is it that they have not acted on a report by Mayor Scott that he was the victim of assault. So notwithstanding the incident that he has been charged for, the allegations against him, they say yes, but our man, Mayor Scott, gave the police a report himself. So how come nothing has materialized from the report that he has given? After the break, I'll tell you what my understanding is based on checks I've made about that very important question. So here's my last little bit on this Norman Scott issue now, given the question his defense have asked about the report he gave to the police and what the police have done with that report. So Julie, the lady in question, who says she was struck by Mayor Scott in full view of several people inside a polling station in Southeast St. Elizabeth, says she's a 3-time stroke survivor. She had severe migraines after her glasses, valued at over $100,000, damaged when she was struck by Mayor Scott. Those are her allegations. The police, having taken her report, have leveled criminal charges against the mayor of Spanish Town, the PNP's candidate in Southeast St. Elizabeth. So that line from Scott's team about how is it that he gave a report alleging assault and that he was the victim of assault and nothing has come of it. It is my understanding that, and I was given a timeline, the lady who was assaulted, Julie, filed the report less than an hour later at the Junction Police Station, which would have been on September 3. I've been made to understand that Mayor Scott was informed by the police that he should make himself available so that proceedings could be instigated against him. I've been made to understand that Mayor Scott did not make a report to the police until about 7 days after the incident. And that report came after he was told by the police that he would be charged. So all I can say is it appears as if, having considered the substance of Mayor Scott's report, the police, as they've done in millions of situations before, decided that there was no ground, or there were no grounds, or was no ground on which to proceed with the prosecution. That's the only way to interpret it as a layman, and I am a layman in this instance. Many people go station, as we'd say in common now. You go station, go file a report. For every report filed, someone isn't charged, because the police do their own assessment and apply their own techniques and decide, well, all right, there's no reason to charge here. So the fact of Mayor Scott making a report does not equate automatically into a charge being leveled against the person who is the subject of his complaint. And that's how it appears. The police considered the woman's statement and found reason to charge Mayor Scott. The police considered Mayor Scott's statement and have up to this point found no reason to charge the woman. Moving right along. So I don't see the efficacy in putting that line on the table, especially as, critical point, I've been reliably informed that his report to the police about being assaulted did not come until about 7 days after the incident, and that it came only after he was told by the police that he would be charged. That's what I know. Yeah?